Hello, and welcome to The Spiritual Pivot, a podcast all about the chaos of running your own spiritual business. I am joined today by somebody I am so excited to talk to. This is Lisa Ward. She is so many things, but has been my personal and I will say personal because I have been to her for the last 2 years. My personal hairstylist, and she is an intuitive. She is a mystic. She is a healer. She is a singer. She is a reader. She is so many things. She is the owner of Hair and Spirit in Middletown, Connecticut, where hair is a transformational experience. She is also an intuitive guide who specializes in working with natural hair texture while also offering spiritual insight, tarot, and energetic awareness that helps clients feel seen, grounded, and empowered. Lisa, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm so excited you're here. And I need you to take over so that I don't just keep just screeching from the top of my lungs. And please, please tell us more about all of the things you do, because it is not just hair. It is so many things. And it also is a lot with hair. So please, Lisa, tell us about yourself.
I'm a hairdresser. I've been a stylist for 19 years. And I am also, what do you call me? A mystic. I'm intuitive, psychic, medium, whatever, all the things, a witch. I don't know, like I'm all the things. Um, and I do hair with a little bit of a spiritual twist. I believe that no one comes to me by an accident. Um, I genuinely believe that everybody that walks through the door, that everybody that sits in my chair is either going through a big change in their life or they're about to go through a big change in their life. And I just happen to be put in their space, in their matrix to help them through,
Mm.
honestly. And it happens in so many different ways. I don't have like a set, there's no script of how things are going to happen because I'm telling you, if you think you're going to come into my space for one thing, spirit most of the time says something different. So it's always on time, it just may never, it's not always what you think it's going to be, but yeah, so that's what I do. So like it's very woo-woo. There's I might whip out some crystals, I might whip out the tarot cards, I might whip out a candle and a water, a singing bowl, tuning forks, a rattle, my mesa. I don't know, there's always something. And sometimes it's just my hands and it's just so yeah, I mean, that's me pretty much in a nutshell.
Thank you. And recently too, you've also
You're welcome.
expanded hair, and I say removals. I say removals just because to come in, sit in your chair, and to have a curly cut. I mean, to have a curly cut anyway is in and of itself a transformational experience. But to have a curly cut that also involves the richness of the conversation that we have, and the I know about it before I walk into the room that I'm in the process of going through an extraction. And then I leave and I'm like, yep, yep, that was there were some things
Yeah.
happening. And you've now also added electrolysis into the work that you're doing too. And
Mhm.
I know that that especially is something that you're doing in conjunction with being an extremely helpful advocate for the trans community in particular. I'm curious
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind just talking about how even you went from hairdresser to now to hairdresser and spiritual everything. I'm going to say spiritual everything because
Yeah.
to me walking in there is having that time with someone who is doing shamanistic ritual in a way
Mhm.
that is deeply grounded in just a very human aspect of it. And now you've moved into this extra space of also removal, and in particular being such an advocate for removal for a very specific community. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Sure. Um, so my previous salon location, um, my electrologist she happened to also be my landlord.
Okay.
And I would go to her for services, and I got hair removal for myself. And um, I started it in 2020. And it was life changing for me and my confidence because I had an abundance of hair on my face, and I had been dealing with it since I was around 18, 19 years old. And I didn't know much about it then. I just knew that it was the only permanent solution. And then she kept putting the bug in my ear that I should go to school for it because she thinks that I would be so good at it because I'm already a hairdresser. So I'm already used to working with people, and I already was a safe space for the trans community. So it for her, it was like a no-brainer.
Mm.
And it took her like 3 years to convince me because I just didn't want to go back to school. I just didn't want to do it. The school is very far. It was going to be a big commitment, and I just felt like I wasn't ready to make such a major change in my life. Um, a part of it was fear. A part of it was just exhaustion. Like I just knew it was going to take more out of me, and I was already burned out. But one day it just clicked. I just had a whole change of heart. Like
Mm.
it just changed for me. And when I went to school, so many of my classmates were trans people and so many of our clientele. And I just instantly, it just became so clear to me, like, why I'm going to be doing this. It was very personal, which I'm very shy, but once we get to know each other, we're in each other's space. You know, we're really in each other's space. And I know it's not easy for people to feel comfortable in that type of setting and letting people in such a vulnerable one, being so close to your body. And then two, like just going through the whole change themselves and having to be open with you about it because a lot of them are going through their transition without telling their friends and family.
Yeah.
So it became more like for me an honor to be of service. It's like, thank you for choosing me. Thank you for trusting me. One thing I can say about myself, because I don't really like to say things about myself.
Please do. Please
But
do.
one thing I do know for certain is that I'm very, very, very trustworthy. And it makes me feel good that people trust me in those intimate moments. So I am still transitioning to the electrolysis. It's taking a slower path than I thought, but I believe now in hindsight that spirit was redirecting me because the path that I was embarking on wasn't going to align with everything that I just told you.
Yeah.
And so now um, the path took a different turn, and I decided to be more patient and allow that path to truly show itself and just go that way. So it's it's happening. I will be working on um, many trans people who get their services covered by insurance and
Awesome.
trans veterans.
Awesome.
Um, and I think that that's so cool. And if I had chosen the other path, I wouldn't have had that experience
Yeah.
with, um, with veterans and with people that are getting it covered by insurance because that's a big thing, you
Yeah.
know. That's a big important step to their transition.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm so curious what first led you into just hair in general? I know that's a big, broad umbrella, and you do
You
so many
really
different
want to know?
things. Uh, in you can give the nutshell if you want, but the 19 years is a long time. How old were you when you? Well, okay, that's adding that's being rude, but uh,
No, it's not.
but that's it's a
I was
considerable amount of your career has been in hair. What was it that overall led you into that being your career path?
it was it was literally a moment in my life where I felt stuck and I felt like I had nowhere to go, I didn't know what to do, no other direction. So I never wanted to be a hairdresser ever. It wasn't even a thought. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I loved reading and debating and proving things and defending, and you can't tell me nothing because I'm gonna have a rebuttal. And that's what I wanted to do since I was 4. But I grew up with I grew up with my sisters, and my mom was a single mom, so she was working all the time. So I always did my sister's hair, and I just happened to be good at it. Self-taught, and I just happened to be good at it and just did my sister's hair. And then I started doing like my aunt's hair, and I started doing my mom's hair. And it's funny because I do come from a family of hairdressers on both sides of my family. And I grew up in the salon. So the fact that I never even wanted to do hair is so funny. So long story short, I got married when I was in high school. Therefore, I was emancipated from my mom, and I was now pretty much an adult. And when it came time for college, I didn't qualify for financial aid or anything like that because my husband made too much money.
Mm.
So I never got to go to college, and my path to being a lawyer was far, far away. And one day I was just down in the dumps, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with my life. I work at freaking Target, and I like my job, but these customers are so awful, and I don't know what to do with myself. So I went to Family Dollar to go get some snacks. And there was this lady standing outside the beauty school smoking a cigarette. And she said, "You should come inside. You should come take a tour." And I was like, why not? Like, whatever. And the moment I walked in there and I smelled the burning hair and perm solution, I knew that I had to go to hair school.
Wow.
And that's how I got into it.
So it sounds like a lot of the path of your life has kind of shifted, and
Yeah.
the kind of shift that you've just sort of gone with without
Hmm.
too much resistance.
And then, well, I would say back then, yes. Back then, there wasn't a lot of resistance.
Hmm.
As I got older, I started resisting. I was more fearless back then.
Yeah. So when did spirituality come into the work that you're doing? When did you start incorporating that in?
Well, it turns out that I always was incorporating it and I just didn't know. Um, I've been psychic since I was 3, and I was always open about it. But there was a period of time where it became, I suppressed it a lot. Um, Suppressed, repressed, I don't know which word it is, but I held it in
Yeah.
because, my grandmother was instilling fear in me about, that's not of the light, and
Mm.
don't, it's the devil, and be careful. And so I just kind of like stopped talking about it. But when I was in hair school, a good friend of mine who we're still friends to this day, she was going through some things with her kid's father at the time. And I saw a picture of him, and I just started. spewing stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, you got all of that from a picture? And she came in the next day and she's like, how about this picture? And she just started like asking me more questions. And I was just like, okay. And I was just doing it. And then she started telling people, and then more people started asking me for stuff. And um when I finally got a job behind the chair, um, I was struggling because I didn't know how to talk to the clients. I didn't know how to like I'm young, I'm new in the industry, I'm taking care of people that are older than me. They're not old, but they're older than me. I don't know what to talk about, you know? And so oftentimes it was quiet. And then one day I was by myself in the salon and it was inside of the mall. So there's the mall noise going on, but like in the salon, it's just her and I. And I see someone by the retail shelf, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm seeing things while I'm doing this person's hair. Um, I don't know what to do. And so I just ignore it. And then finally, like this this thing wouldn't go away. So I said to her, I have to tell you something. I said, and please keep an open mind and just listen because it's gonna sound crazy. I said, but there is somebody here. And I told her who it was, and she was so open and she was like, that's my dad.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, so relieved. And the rest is history. That became the way that I was able to connect with clients and then like sort of get rid of my shyness. And then
Mm.
like that became the thing. And I've always gave the best shampoos. And people are like, oh my gosh, you have healing hands. Oh my
Yes, you do.
gosh, when you cut my hair just grows. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, people tell me this all the time, like, it's got to be true. Like, and when my grandmother was in the hospital, she was like kind of in a coma. Um,
Mm.
I don't know if she was officially in a coma, but she was definitely like not there for a good couple of weeks. And I was visiting her every day, and I would put my hands on her, and I would start seeing light coming. Sometimes I would see light coming from above, sometimes I would see it coming from my body. And
Mm.
I was just intuitively doing whatever I was guided to do. And she confirmed it. She's like, you have healing hands. Like you did something because now I could feel my legs and stuff like that. So I just started to become more open with people about it.
Yeah. So, did you when did you transition into it being your own salon? And when you did that, did you go full in and say, I've known for some time that I'm a healer as I do this. So this is I am hair and
Yeah.
spirit. That is what this is. When
Mhm.
did that transition happen?
So in the end of 2019,
Okay.
I was working for a big corporation and I was managing a salon. And um, I was having a lot of trouble with the staff and other managers. And it just wasn't, I didn't feel the passion anymore. So I decided that it was time for me to go out on my own. And I found a place in Farmington that was looking for renters, chair rental. So I had a meeting with her and I was like, I need you to tell me. She happened to be a well-known stylist in Connecticut. I used to watch her on TV. So
Oh,
I had been like fangirling over her.
cool.
So now I have access to her and I can ask her to help me. I'm like, please tell me that you think I could do this. And she's like, yes, you can. Like, you can do this and more. So I took the leap of faith and I quit that corporate job. And 2 weeks later, COVID hits. and we have a shutdown. What a perfect time.
To start your own in person, close to people
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
Yep. So, but it was so divine because when I tell you, I named my business Hair and Spirit because I used to go to this deli next to my house, and this guy named Gary, he was an owner, and he used to talk about spirituality with me. He
Mm.
taught me things like the Tibetan rites.
Oh,
He
wow.
taught me, yes, because I was suffering from severe anxiety. And he gave me so many like ancient tips and tricks and words of wisdom. And he knew that I could see beyond the veil. So I used to tell him, "Oh, yeah, there's somebody right there." And, there's somebody over there. And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I hear them." So I was starting a Facebook group. And I said, "I don't know what to call my group." And he said, "You should call it Hair and Spirit." He goes, "Get it? Because they're here in spirit." It's a play on that. And I said, "Oh my God, that's genius."
Yeah.
So I named my Facebook group Hair and Spirit. And so when I formed my LLC, I decided to keep it. And it just was perfect because all of a sudden I started getting, during COVID, I wasn't a COVID nut by any means. I refused to fall into the fear,
Mm.
and I just didn't want to stop my life because the government told me so. So I just started attracting all these people who were like, "I'm anti-mask." And I'm
Mm.
like, "Well, you don't have to wear a mask here." And I got so busy, all
Wow.
because I never required anyone to wear a mask.
Hmm.
I didn't require anyone to be vaccinated. I didn't require to be 6 feet apart. I didn't require for them to come alone. I treated people like people. And the ones that appreciated that, the ones that felt very strongly about the restrictions, they had so much respect for me and they gave me so much business.
Yeah.
And that's when Hair and Spirit really started to, take off because people were afraid. People were wondering what's the next step. So I started doing a lot of readings. I started making sage bundles. I started um, doing crystal healing. I started doing angelic healing. I got certified in quantum healing and hypnosis by Dolores Cannon.
Nice.
And I I did it all. I just dove right in. It
Nice.
just felt like people were more, you either were gonna be the group of people that were going to just be following and restricting yourself from living, or you were going to be the other side of that, which was very open. And I happened to be aligned with the people that were so open. So it made me feel so much more safe to put myself out there in that way.
And the timing of it too. Just the
Mhm.
the you say leap of faith, it almost does feel like a full leap off of a cliff entirely into a different world and completely.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because I'm like, I don't have a job now. I just opened my own business and I don't have any money coming in and I still have to pay this rent.
Yeah.
And I just started. So where do I get the money? And then boom, Diva Curl. I happen to be an educator for Diva Curl. They went and they pivoted and they started doing so much virtually that I was getting paid to do things like an interview on being a Black girl with curls
Nice.
in the workplace.
Nice.
I was getting paid to do contests, to be a judge on contests, for contests. I was getting paid to smell products and try it out before they put it on the shelf. Like I was getting paid. And
Wow.
it was just like, if I'm gonna do this for others, if I'm going to help others and preach that everyone else should trust the process or to trust that everything's going to work out and for them, then I have to practice what I preach. I have to follow the same advice.
Yeah.
And I was very well taken care of during COVID times. And
Wow.
it was purely, purely, purely divine.
Yeah. I want to pivot a little bit to some of the other ways that you help people, especially online, because I know that that is another just another facet of some of the things that you do. You do some live streams on Facebook and on Instagram. I know that you're also a singer and songwriter. Um, I know that you're also a painter. What other things are you doing right now too that are part of just the entire? Because I want to say like the entire Lisa package, but that is such a that's such an incredibly diverse just range of skill sets and how what would we even say heart centered and led. Thank you. I've got Lisa's guides here who are helping me with some of these heart centered and led creations that are really and truly okay. Articles of service is what I'm getting. Every one of those is a piece of your service based. I am here for you, which is kind of
Mhm.
the the heartbeat underneath everything that you're doing. Do you mind talking about some of that? Some of the live streams, some of the music, some of the art.
Yeah. So it's interesting that art comes through because I don't I'm not a painter. I will pick up a paintbrush occasionally and
Mm.
paint something, but it's so amateur. Like I don't even know about the mediums and what you could mix. I know nothing, but I have canvases, I have paintbrushes, I have paint, I have resin. Because I just like artsy things, but I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily good at any of them. It's just something that I like to do. It's very healing for my inner child.
Mm.
I think that I could have been good at them over time if I had nurtured those things as a kid into my adulthood, but I didn't, unfortunately. So there's just something that I like to do sometimes. But
Yeah.
I do come from a family that is very artistic and can draw and can paint and are very creative. So it could be in me too. Um, but singing, back to when I said back then I had a lot of, I wasn't afraid. I put myself out there a long time ago and I auditioned for American Idol and I made it to amateur night at the Apollo and I
Wow.
wrote a lot of songs and I did a lot of performances and um, I recorded songs for um, artists that like whatever producer I was working with, they were like, let's say they were working on a project for Rihanna. I would do the demos for that.
Wow.
Or if they were working on a project for J Lo, I would come in and sing the demo for that. Um, and it was so much fun, and I really loved it. But the industry is pretty it's pretty cutthroat, and I wasn't prepared or willing to go as far as they wanted me to go in order to be successful.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped. Um, but going live on Instagram and Facebook, I get these intuitive nudges where I could be so tired and exhausted, and spirit is like, you need to go on Instagram. There's, I'm like, dude, it's 1 in the morning. Like, no one's on Instagram. And sure enough, I'm on the live talking to myself. No one's on there. But eventually somebody's going to watch it and get the
Yeah.
message. But I usually go on there and I start my lives typically by talking about what I'm experiencing and what I'm working through. And then I'll start pulling cards. And I don't ask any questions anymore. I used to be like, why do I have to do this? Can I do it later? I don't ask anymore. I just do it. And then I do it on Facebook. So like Spirit tells me which platform to choose. I don't have a system in place. I couldn't tell you what days of the week I'm going to do it. I just do it. And it just lands on the right ears or the right eyes when it's supposed to.
Yeah. So, in thinking in terms of business and growth and direction, it sounds like where you've come to be doing the things that you're doing now have kind of been a mixture of confidently being yourself in moments when you're just with anyone. It sounds like even the I love the image of someone smoking outside of a beauty school and just kind of looking at you and being like, you need to be here, you need to be here, and you followed it. And a pun from a deli person who also gives you like I've never been open enough with someone to have that level of a conversation, and yet all I could hear from that was that the level of openness to spirituality that is around us and available is clearly so much bigger than I think most of us give ourselves credit for believing is true.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious as you are following these intuitive nudges, and you are still focused, like you have an LLC, you have taxes to pay, you have growth to consider, you have clients, you have all of the standard things that you need to do in a business. How does future growth or pathway potentials feed into that when you're working from a heart-centered intuitive nudge place? How do you combine those?
It's it's tough because I always consider the people that might be affected by my decisions,
Yeah.
and I'm a people pleaser. So I'm always sometimes like battling between doing what my clients would want me to do versus doing what I'm being led to do. But the thing that has always worked for me is, and combining it is just informing people. And I learned that my human design is a manifester.
Mm-hmm.
And as a manifester, my job is to inform. It's not to ask for permission, but it is to let you know that this is what I'm going to do because it is going to affect you.
Yeah.
But I have built so much trust with my clients that they're always supportive. And so it makes my next phase so much easier to transition to because I always have their full support. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind. So I think I finally got into a place where, I mean, after 19 years of well, I'm not going to say 19 years because it's no longer like that. So let's say after 17 years of yes, 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 sure, come on, no problem, don't worry, I got you, yes. Um, I finally got to a place where I only have the people that are in alignment with me. So like, if you're gonna be upset because I'm 10 minutes late, you're not the client for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be upset if you're 10 minutes late. You
Yeah.
know, shit happens. I'm probably going to be 10 minutes late. Like, if you're going to be upset because I bring my kid to work with me, you're not the client for me. Because guess what? I'm bringing my kid to work. I homeschool. That's my sidekick. She's coming to work with me. If you're going to be upset because I only work 2 days a week, then you're not the client for me. So, like, over time, the more I got, the more I went within, the more I went inward, the more I started to receive clients that were way more fluid and way more open and way more supportive. And the ones that were really rigid and inflexible just started to float away.
Nice. So where
So,
so where do you see things going in just the hopes dreams category, not even in the like I'm planning rigidly, but
yeah.
just the larger overarching hopes and dreams for future business in this space.
Okay. If I'm being completely honest, like my hope and my dream is like, I would really love if I can do all the things spiritual full time.
Mm.
Like I just want to flow. And I'm like so done with like the physical labor.
Mm.
I want to be in my body more and I want to flow more and I want to be able to uh, create stability for myself while also doing that. That's my hope.
Yeah.
Um, but there's this thing that's been happening lately, which is like, I moved my business to Middletown and everyone is like, oh my God, you're going to do so great out here. You're going to make so much money. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And there's a billboard that's premiering on Saturday.
Ooh.
And I'm like, holy crap. I I don't want to be seen. So like I laugh because I'm like, I want these things, and at the same time, I don't want to be seen. I mean, I didn't even have a sign outside
Yeah.
it. Like, like, how did you find me? Because there was no sign. So I I have realized that when I dream my dreams and I hope my hopes, that the universe provides. And so I'm trying to lean into what is happening that's giving me all this anxiety in my mind because I'm like, oh my God, people are seeing me. And I can't hide anymore. But I also like don't want to hide anymore. So it's
Yeah.
like, stop hiding. But I want to hide.
The constant struggle.
Yeah. Mhm. I think I
Awesome.
think it I think it's just because I think it's always that little bit of that people pleasing that comes to the surface that I'm worried that people have expectations and then I don't deliver, especially when it comes to the spiritual stuff because
Mm.
I find that especially nowadays there's so many performative spiritualists that everyone has like a script of how you're supposed to do something.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't have a script.
Yeah.
So, there are moments where I'm like excited to work with someone, right? But then they'll tell me, "Oh yeah, I went on a retreat in Tulum and we did Galactic Federation activation and all these things." And then I'm like, I was just gonna put some crystals in your hand and I was just gonna feel for the energy and I was just gonna
Yeah.
extract. I was gonna do a death spiral on you. Um, I was gonna do some past life stuff, like
Yeah.
so and
Yeah.
I'll start second guessing like if I'm meeting their expectation.
Mm.
And I know that's not good because one thing I learned when I was in Dharma school with the naughty shaman, I learned that when you are in that space, it's an ego. It's ego. And you're supposed to go into it with, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm here to be of service.
Yeah.
So I had to start. letting go of the outcome or wanting to know what I'm supposed to do and just do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why I sometimes I'm like, yeah, I just removed a 1,000-year curse from you, but don't tell anyone. Like,
It sounds like spirits got you right in the center of, oh, you're still scared of this? Good. Good. We're going to keep forcing it. Good.
yeah,
As
yeah.
spirit is wont to do, right?
Mhm.
the
Yep.
more the more you name it as a fear, the more it just becomes like, okay, you must be seen by all, by everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you named that though, because you have, like, I hear you've known that you've had psychic gifts since you were 3, and you've been doing this professionally for 19 years, and you've been open with clients. I hear that as someone who's relatively new to being out about spiritual anything, and all I can think is, I'm not worthy. I'm like, that's where I go. Like, I go immediately there, because and as someone who's been the recipient of it, I mean, I buy a curly cut. I don't necessarily purchase one of the other packages that you have. You still offer me
Mhm.
things while we're in the chair. And
Yeah.
honestly, when we're together, I can't help but like my hands start talking. We start getting into all kinds of things, but I come in one way, I leave another way. That's what I know. And
Yeah.
the specifics of it don't matter to me. I feel cute, I feel good, and I feel like I have been able to release. And obviously, the act of removal, like, there's
Yeah.
literal DNA and entanglements to that DNA from months ago when I had other things going on that have been removed. Like, there's
Right.
literal tangible removals that happen in
Yeah.
that kind of an interaction, and in a way that is so deeply ancient and feminine, and I mean, not only, but just so deeply aligned in all of those things. um Not that I need to like say any of that to boost it up, just saying that as a client who's very happy with the services in
I'm
spiritual just disentanglements, because that
Mhm.
really, like, if I were to give you one term for what I really do, like, I call you a mystic, but to me, especially the services you've provided me, it's spiritual disentanglement. It's quantum disentanglement from, yes, from
Mhm.
literal things that have been tethered to past that get to go, but it is one that is also an infusion of love, infusion
Right.
of hopeful what you want for future.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to pivot us to
Mhm.
a little bit more future based, because I'm kind of getting like the like the, okay, time for us to come in now, and tap into your Akashic records. And you do have an enormous amount of guidance that has been surrounding me this entire conversation. And I am just going to tune in. And while I'm doing that, I want to know, Lisa, what what question have you got for your records? It can be business specific, or it can be other anything.
Oh man. What question do I have? I guess my question would be, what is, I feel like I'm on a continuous loop when it comes to my business. Like a loop of wanting to sort of rebel and break free and do things different. But then, wait a second, I live in the 3D world and I need to pay bills and I need to also comply with some things. Like how do I overcome that loop? How does my business become me?
We would say your business already is you. Okay, that was kind of a rude. Okay, so I did get a request for use, so I will be channeling a good amount of this.
Mhm.
Okay. Are you aware that Archangel Uriel is one of your main guides?
Yes, I
Okay,
am. Yep.
cool, cool, cool. I know that's not the only one. You have a lot of archangel like. I'm gonna take my glasses off because when there's big energies like that, it hurts. It actually hurts to see. Um, okay. Hmm. This is literally from Uriel. Hold on, I need a second, Lisa. I'm so sorry. Okay, so an interesting thing happens when someone such as Lisa, and this is just me explaining to everyone listening right now. When you read Akashic Records, you kind of just open yourself up to the whatever and the whoever. You kind of open up a bunch of doors. Lisa has a lot of doors. Got there's a lot of archangelic energy, and there's a whole host of uh, leaf energy, earth based energy. Yes, fairy realm energy. I need a second because this is a combined Archangel Uriel, and it's coming through as Uriel. I've heard other people mention other ways, but with a chorus of they keep wanting to call themselves leaf people. They're fairies. They're the fairy realm. Um, so you're gonna kind of get both. Um,
Okay.
what feels like it is spinning is an outward spiral, but yours involves a chasm. You are in the period of stepping into a different stream of expansion. Okay. All right. All right. All right. They're all just going to give it to me as a one big download because that is a lot to man. Okay. What they're basically showing me is one spiral that you've been on has had this chasm that has already been split like this. And you're kind of at this point now where the option is going to have to involve more leaping. That's something you're familiar with. I kind of see it in like a lot of the different life trajectories that you've had because the moving through things does operate as a spiral. And when you look at it in certain directions, it feels kind of like, oh, I'm doing this again. Oh, I'm doing this again. I'm doing this again. Because it is the layers that are getting removed as you continue to expand. Um, you are very familiar with having to jump because it's almost like you go from one spiral, you hit the chasm, and you're like, okay, time to suit up and jump. And then you jump and you land into a different spiral, sort of like the spiral is now going this direction. Uh, that's where you are, and that's actually what this entire move was. Very much a will you leap the chasm and continue on the expansion, or will you jump and we will catch you and place you in a new spiral that does not involve chasms. This is the path forward for you. We see more with your voice and with those who will be observing rather than interacting face to face. You are a global reach. What's the word? Okay. I don't like this word. It's just funny. You're a global reach operative. Is kind of the word that they're giving me. But a global reach. Okay, conservator. They're giving me very specific words right now. There is a need to establish yourself in this new that will continue to expand because you are now going to be operating in a different planet. It's there's basically a you've been on a spiral with one way of existing. You have leapt. You are now at the not beginning, but just early stages of getting familiar with the terrain because it is one that it is one that requires so I'm hearing the word sacrifice, but it's one that requires removal of that which is still on the old paths with all of the chasms. So there's still some entanglements that are there, and this isn't the kind of thing that you don't just jump from one plane of existence to another plane of existence. That would be torture. That'd be really
Yeah.
hard. And you wouldn't be able to keep walking. It would flatten you for a while. Instead, there's sort of a co-walking where you are continuing on this spiral with the other one. Um, continuing to see and feel and yearn for that which aligns more will be opening the choice points in the coming days, weeks. And what they literally are showing me is as you're walking these paths, over there where everything is still kind of almost a mirrored existence, because it's energetically, it's not necessarily with what you're doing, but there is a little bit like the energy of old clients, the energy of old friends, the energy of those who are still going to be continuing to walk that path where they, and it's almost like you and certain entanglements, and they are talking specific people here. There is just a need for this continued separation to keep occurring a bit because your path is here, and this is continuing that cycle. So the actual business pieces work themselves out as if the building was constructing itself around you. It is the personal entanglements that will be, I just see dissolving. But also, so it's almost like you are building up yours while the deconstruction is also happening with some of the entanglements that you have. And when they say entanglements, that is literally all matter of relationships. Um, but because of how deeply uh, how deeply heart plugged in you are with every single person that you encounter, there is the current need for business level separation until there is no longer any connection to those who spiral with leap, because spiral with leap is no longer where you're heading. It's no longer the path that you are choosing. And they're basically bringing up exactly what you said earlier, which was when you were younger, something would come up and the like, okay, I'll pivot here. That was sort of a just way of existing. But because where you are now is much more intentional and much more earth based, it's much more in actually with the fairy realm itself. You're reigniting your fairy self, your fairy
Mhm.
selves, your fairy cells. You sing and speak in fairy. We love your music.
Aw.
Um, okay, this is from your fairy guides. Um, what pours out of you becomes nectar for others. That is the power of an embodied what? An embodied sparkle voice. I feel like there could be better terms for that, but that's what I got translated out was an embodied sparkle voice is what we enjoy and what flows through in all chakras with what comes out. Okay. I'm going to pause for a second and see if you have any questions on that because they really are just showing me that you've already crossed this threshold in a really, really big way. And it's been because of the different paths that you've been circling on, but leaping through. But everything really does. There is over here just big, big, big chasms entirely. And over here, it's every step that you take. It is still the spiraling path that comes out. You do still revisit things, but as you walk, the path lays itself down. It's less of one that's because the other piece of these is they are more karma based. They're more what you've done for the purposes of maintaining structure within that entire network. you're removing yourself from a okay. I was like, there's so much ancestral stuff here. You've been removing yourself from the ancestral need for holding. Basically, holding up the structure so that others can also make their leaps, that's no longer your role. Has been,
Mm,
was one, isn't one further, and that's completely what you came to do. Because you set up the structure, you have now also set up the bridge, and anyone who wants to follow, they have a bridge. They don't need the structure anymore. But many are going to keep choosing it. Also, I love
yeah.
that the lights behind you just came out and I said that. That was amazing. Because that's kind of it. You basically are leaving and you're turning the lights off. And you're like, okay, bye, everybody. I literally did all of the work for like my entire life. It's time for me to go live mine. Okay.
Yeah,
That's kind of,
yeah,
that's where you are. And you're in that transition period because those transition periods last for a few years generally. Just, you're over here doing your thing. And then some of this is still sort of happening a little bit. Like it just kind of is,
yeah.
but it's mostly decision based at this point. As far exactly with the intuitive nudges that you've already identified, they're basically like you need no assistance. You understand perfectly what is an opportunity and what is an anchor.
Right.
No more anchors. You don't need them. You don't need to anchor anyone else's life because that is not your role, even if it has been in the past. Okay, I'm gonna pause. Actually, pause and see if you have questions. Sorry, I said pause and then I kept talking.
Do I have any questions? No, I don't think so. It's interesting though because um you were talking about you said sparkle fairy voice or fairy sparkle voice and it made me think of the paper towels sparkle.
Oh,
I think there's paper towels and I think there's a fairy there
is
on
there?
the
Cool.
yeah. So it made me think of that. And then it made me think about the one time that I went into my Akashic records for myself and I was asking what my soul name was. And it was this book and it just said Faye on it. But then when the book opened, a whole bunch of children just came running out and they were all singing. And, some of them like singing and, kind of just being kids and loud. And I didn't know what that meant because I'm not really like a kid. Like, like me and kids, like, I can't see, I couldn't receive the message. I didn't know what it meant for me. But I am in a position, as you're speaking, I realize, because my life path is a 4. And um, now more than ever in my life, I have been desperately searching and seeking for stability and trying to create that for myself because like I need it now more than ever before. And I realized that part of my go with the flow, I need to pivot nature back then was because I was living in such a chaotic environment and a lot of those decisions weren't mine. I had no choice. We moved often. I changed schools often. Um, Decisions were made abruptly. So I learned how to adapt in that environment.
Yeah.
So then I left the house at 16 and I became fearless because now I get to make my own decisions. But now I'm in a place where I really feel like I was operating, even though I was pivoting effortlessly, I was operating on survival
Yeah.
mode. And there's this there's this tension in me because I can feel that survival person in me sometimes, and I need her to go because I don't necessarily feel like I need to survive anymore, but I do want stability. more than anything, I need it. I need the foundation. I need it to be sturdy.
Yeah. Okay. There's a few, there's sort of just a few final messages that want to come through.
Hmm.
Mm. You are and will remain she who survives, and the need for constant vigilance is what you are in process of removing from yourself. Active choice in daily life when opportunities present themselves to notice what is survival response, what is grounded Lisa, are part of your own bridge building. They're showing me almost like you're in the process of hand sewing this. I'm almost seeing like you're sewing a bodice, you're lacing something up for yourself. It's like
Hmm.
every single moment that you have that opportunity to notice when a response is still there, because they're sort of in this, yes, it is a, it's not a, it's over instantaneously sort of way of existing. It's more of a, when it arrives, and they're showing me like it arrives like confetti, like opportunities for responding in survival mode is confetti. Each individual piece is an opportunity to respond with something, is intended to ignite your body where those responses live, and every choice for this is who I am now is how you remove them. It's sort of a piece by piece deactivation that you're doing. Your opportunities for more of what you want open up as you remove this from yourself. Hmm. I just asked them, how does she do this? And they literally were like, she's doing it every day. Choices that you make that put yourself first, choices that you make that are aligned with this is in my highest good and is aligned with what I feel and know. They're kind of literally pointing at, and she already said it, people pleasing. She's every time she removes the people pleasing behavior, that is a piece of it.
Hmm.
We celebrate your emergence into this next evolution for who you have also always been, but who the world has not always gotten to see. Yeah. And then they just kind of ended it with a very big you, you golden light glowing, just sort of standing in your power. Okay, like it's like I see you. It's like I see fan art having been created of you like a superhero. That's more or less what they just showed me.
I had a caricature done years ago, and it was of me as a superhero.
Oh,
And it was like, oh
nice.
man, I think I was like 13 maybe. I
Wow.
got it done 12 or 13. I got it done at like it's called Six Flags now, but it used to be called Riverside. But I wonder whatever happened to that.
I wonder if you can find it. Maybe it'll show up this week.
That'd be
Be
so
going through
crazy.
stuff.
That would be so crazy because that was so long ago. Wow, that's funny.
That kind of does make sense though, because there's always that level of tapping back into who has always been there, but it's sort of who has always been there without the protective, the needed protective layers.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just okay. I'm just checking in to make sure if there's anything else. We simply are grateful for all that you do, and you have a deeply reverent group like toward you.
Mhm.
Deeply like it makes me feel like I'm not being reverent enough. Just the energy of what it is. There's a deep reverence for the work that you do, and by work it really does mean every interaction you have. It is work. Every moment you work. They say you work too much.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. But that is sort of the reverence, is that it's you are working in every moment. The removal makes way for what it is that you feel coming, for
Mhm.
what it is that you dream. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. All right. I'm gonna try to pivot us back here because I feel there. I very much have this feeling of like I just want to sit here for 20 minutes and just kind of just like calmly just calmly be in this energy. But Lisa, I am so grateful for everything that you do. I am so grateful every time I have an opportunity to speak with you and just get to just get to just get to be in your presence. I guess I know that's super fangirly, but really the breadth of knowledge that you have with this, you were the first person here that I walked into your studio space and I felt it immediately. I just felt the welcome, open, calm, everything energy. And then you really were the first person who was just open about spiritual things without diving into anything specific. And the moment I started telling you about my near death experience, about the Akashic Records, about my light language, you just understood every ounce of it and educated me along the way too, just by talking. And to say
Oh,
that it was a grounding central nervous system release that I literally couldn't have gotten anywhere else is an understatement. It's a complete understatement. So just the absolute like in my perfect world, everyone, and I mean everyone who does hair, would also have just any amount of education and training in how to have spiritual conversations too. Even if they themselves are not that spiritual, just some level of spiritual education and understanding so that space can be its own sanctuary for folks who are coming in that vulnerable moment with someone who is like, no one else touches my hair, like like
yeah.
it's a very
Mhm.
vulnerable moment. And that's Charlie's ideal world, is that everyone who learns how to take care of people and their hair takes care of the spiritual side of them as well. So I don't
Well, I want to thank you because I thank you for giving me the opportunity to, work on your hair. I know it's not easy going to a new place and and then I didn't have a sign and I didn't have, so but ever since you came into the salon, I have gotten more people that are into this stuff, and I've seen them several times already. And I'm like, I know this is because Charlie came in. I know it. Like it was just it just was like, I don't know. And like, you've given me so much. You've given me so much too. You've given me so much information. I've learned so many things. And you give me hope. You give me excitement. I feel excited for what's to come. And I'm excited for you because I don't know if you are ever able to like channel for yourself. because I know sometimes,
Too much.
yeah, like it could be, but I want to tell you, this is my message to you is that you're doing a wonderful thing and you need to keep doing it. And don't let anything stop you. Don't ever stop with your hand gestures. Don't ever stop like, don't ever stop just being you because I think you're incredible. And I think the work that you're doing is incredible. And I think more people need to see that. And I think you're going to meet those people. And I think you're going to feel more seen and understood. And I just think you're going to thrive.
Oh my God, Lisa, I love you so much. I love you so much. I both don't want to overwhelm you with business, and I want everyone to come to you for everything. I mean, just in general, I really do. Like, so okay, we're just gonna pivot to this. Where can people find you and all of the amazing things that you're doing?
So honestly, the best way to find me is on Instagram. I'm Hair and Spirit LLC. It's Hair HAIRAND Spirit LLC. That's the best place because my online booking link is there. You'll get to see my lives, you'll get to see my stories, and it has like my address for the business and everything is up there. Um, Google Google is not being the best right now, so it still has my old salon address. It won't let me change it.
Oh dear.
So Instagram is the best way.
Okay. And yes, Lisa is in Middletown now.
Yep.
Very awesome, convenient location. So yes, Lisa, I am so grateful that you have given us the time to spend with you today. And just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you, thank you for
you.
everything. It's
I
really
was so honored. I couldn't believe you asked me. I was like, yeah,
awesome.
I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for watching and listening. And there will be more of the spiritual pivot coming soon. Bye, everyone.